With 2020's NBA playoffs, many people wrote off Paul George because of his horrendous play. This season, he's averaging all-star numbers and has flown under the radar dramatically. The amount of criticism and hate he got for not being able to beat the Suns without Kawhi is just unlogical to me. I rank George highly among the league's top wings because of his shooting and finishing ability. It is fascinating to me the way he just takes over a game at the snap of a finger. Make sure you stick around so you don't miss anything, because I'm going to be covering a lot. First, I'm going to be covering PG-13's generational shooting. This season, he scored 23 points on 47% from the field and 41% from three. George was an inch close to the 50-40-90 club. I fully expect him to hit it next year when he is even more comfortable in the Clippers offense. He has a true shooting percentage of 58%, which is outstanding. George, over the years, has begun to move away from his defensive abilities and transition more to a scorer in the Clippers offense. He has learned to work with stars like Russell Westbrook and Kawhi Leonard and excel in that role. In total, Paul George has a 3-point rating of 98.8, which ranks in the top 1% in the league. That is insane to me. I just don't see how this guy can be as bad as the media makes him to be. For context, that is better than every player on the Nets, including their big three. On top of that, PG-13 has a shot creation rating of 96.6, which ranks in the 97th percentile. He is better than Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and his teammate Kawhi Leonard. Paul George's experience and high basketball IQ are showing in this department. Now, I will talk about Paul George's severely underrated playmaking talent. This season, Paul George averaged 5.2 assists per game. This is absolutely outstanding for any player, but George especially, considering him being the first or second scoring option. He assisted 14.3 points per 75 possessions though, which is better than some starting point guards. He ranks in the 87th percentile on this. You should be able to see why George is such a good playmaker. He is great at creating open shots. In the stat pass creation volume, George has a rating of 84.2, which ranks in the top 15% in the NBA. To continue, he has a pass creation quality rating of 95.6, which lands in the 95th percentile. We have almost never seen someone this gifted at scoring and creating shots for his teammates. He has a playmaking grade of 95.6 again, to which is the 26th best in the league and the 16th best in the Western Conference. For reference, he is ahead of guys like Kyrie Irving, Devin Booker, and Giannis. This is generational talent. He is great at attacking the hoop and then kicking it out for a three. George will only be able to get better with Kawhi being out. I fully expect him to only get better with him leading the offense too. Paul George is a player that can not only create a shot for himself, but for others. We all know that PG-13 loves to ISO. On ISO, he shoots 53.2%. This is good, but I would love to see that number go higher, over 60%. He does not go to ISO as much as I thought he would. George only ISOs under 5 times per 75 possessions. George needs to go to his isolation game more, which is one of his strengths. I can also see that he may not be able to get to his ISO so much because he has to share the court with Kawhi Leonard. He draws a foul on 11% of his isolations. This ranks in the 56th percentile, which is just above average. He is not great, but serviceable in the ISO game. He needs to work on his isolation game and could bring his attempts per game up more. I do think he is a respectable player in the ISO, but it could use some work. Lastly, I will cover Paul George's finishing. He drives to the rim 13 times on 75 possessions. This is good and shows that George has the confidence to attack the rim. He is able to get to the rim outstandingly well. He has a get-to-rim rating of 1.2, which is in the top 9% in the league. PG-13 is able to get to the rim when and how he wants. Defenders have to respect his perimeter shooting and his ability to blow by them. The issue is when he gets to the rim, he has trouble finishing. He only gets points on 20% of his drives when there is contact. This is barely above league average. PG-13 has no problem getting to the hoop, but he needs to get points. He has a finish at rim rating of 0.2, which is in the 69th percentile. Not great, but around 70%. Teams do have to respect George's drives, but he needs to work on finishing through contact for and-one opportunities. You should now be able to see Paul George's amazing ability to score the basketball. He is a gifted scorer that can get any shot he wants, but also create for his teammates. Do you think Paul George can lead the Clippers to over a 50% win ratio when Kawhi is out? Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, share this video, and peace!